week's edition, we will feature some of Africa's budding billionaires. This year, a record of 1,826 billionaires made it to Forbes' annual ranking of the world's richest people. 29 of them were African, led by Nigerian-born Aliko Dangote, whose net worth is estimated at $15.7 billion. Hello everyone, I'm Stella Monica Mpande. This is the Africa Innovation and Technology channel. Bi-weekly, we strive to bring you stories that inspire, empower, engage, and motivate young African entrepreneurs using new technology into action. Aliko Dangote is one of Nigeria's most prominent entrepreneurs. His life's ambition is to build the biggest company in Africa and the biggest cement company in the world. His cement factories already span the continent. However, falling stock prices and a recent devaluation of the naira might have dented his fortune, causing him to lose roughly $10 billion since last year. But Aliko Dangote is still the richest man in Africa. The Dangote Group is Africa's largest industrial conglomerate and has interests in cement production, flour milling, sugar refining, and food and beverages. Africa Innovation and Technology reporter Paul Ndiho has our story.
Aliko Dangote was born in 1957 in the northern Nigerian city of Kano. His drive, determination, and entrepreneurial skills have helped to make him Africa's richest person, with a personal fortune estimated at over $11 billion according to Forbes magazine. The industrial giant portfolio encompasses a wide range of investments. Dangote currently has cement plants or facilities under construction across the continent, from Senegal to Ethiopia to South Africa. In 2010, Dangote listed his conglomerate bearing the same name on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and it boosted his estimated personal wealth fivefold, making him the fastest riser on the Forbes worldwide wealth list.
Things are changing. If you look at in other areas, before normally, especially in Nigeria, Nigerians look more or less into oil and gas, because oil and gas really messed us up big time, in the sense that people have actually dropped agriculture, they dropped almost everything.
Dangote wants to list 20% of the cement company on the London Stock Exchange next year at a price that would place its value between 35 and 40 US billion dollars. If he's successful, the move would make Dangote the world's top cement firm by market capitalization, bigger than Lafarge of France and surpassing mobile phone operator MTN, Africa's top stock.
The real target is for us to see what value can we add and pay back to this country of ours that we call Nigeria, and also the continent of ours that we call Africa. And the only way to do this thing is by trying to make sure that you stay where you believe you can add a lot of value. In business, at least so far, we've been taking the flag of Nigeria and flag of Africa to put in places that they were never ever expected to be seen.
Despite his success, the 55-year-old has his detractors too. His critics in Nigeria say that he has attained his success at the expense of smaller businesses that do not have access to his kind of capital or political connections. Dangote admits he has been friends with several Nigerian presidents and has enjoyed lucrative tax breaks, but he denies receiving any special favors.
We try as much as possible to use our own money to do most of these projects. Even if we borrow money today, we only borrow money temporarily before we replace that money with our own cash flow.
However, Bismarck Rewan, Chief Financial Executive Officer of the Lagos-based consultancy firm Financial Derivatives, has known the tycoon for more than 20 years.
Aliko is a highly driven, extremely competitive and passionate individual.
Uzo Nwako, a former executive director of corporate finance at Dangote, shares the same sentiment.
As a businessman, he's very savvy. He understands his business. He also understands the economy and the relationship between politics and business.
With an annual revenue of $2.5 billion, the Dangote Group contributes nearly 1% of Nigeria's GDP, Africa's second biggest economy. The firm also employs more than 23,000 people in a country with massive unemployment.
From West Africa, we now turn to East Africa to look at the remarkable journey of Gordon Wavamunno. Sir Gordon Wavamunno is one of Uganda's most successful entrepreneurs. Born in Rugaga, a rural village in southwestern Uganda, he now has a personal fortune estimated at over $50 million, with companies in a wide variety of pursuits, including media, transportation, tourism, farming, trade, manufacturing, real estate, property development, and motor vehicle distribution. However, he has overcome a lot of hardships to succeed. Once again, Paulindiho introduces us to one of Uganda's success stories.
Gordon Wavamunno is probably one of Uganda's best known and most successful businessmen and a key player in the country's economy. Queen Elizabeth II bestowed a knighthood, the United Kingdom's highest honor, on Sir Gordon, recognizing him for his contributions to society and international relations. From an early age, Wavamunno knew he wanted to be a businessman. After joining his father's trade business, he worked as a cashier and traded in agricultural produce. He quickly saved enough money from the enterprise to establish a dry cleaning business, bought a car, and started a car rental and driving school business in Mbarara, western Uganda. A couple years later, he expanded the business to Kampala. From there, with two partners, he opened Uganda People's Transport and Taxi Services Limited and eventually left it to form his own company, Spear Group, and obtained a Daimler Mercedes dealership to sell its products. Gordon's story closely mirrors the fortunes of post-independence Uganda. During the turbulent years of General Idi Amin's regime and the early 80s under President Milton Obote, his efforts were almost completely destroyed. He was thrown in jail twice, his business was vandalized and looted beyond repair. He survived and started and reclaimed his fortunes. He persuaded Daimler Mercedes to retain him as Uganda's sole dealer, and founded and built the now multi-million-dollar Spear Group of Enterprises, consisting of Spear Motors Limited, which sells Mercedes-Benz and other brands. Over the years, he has moved into other businesses, including Wava Textiles and Clothing, state-of-the-art Wava Fancy Furniture, Wava Ostrich and Horse Farming, Wava Bottled Water, and more. Wavamunno continues building his rapidly expanding portfolio. Wavamunno Broadcasting Service, or WBS Television, is one of the leading privately owned media operations in the country. The self-made businessman has won the Ugandan Businessman of the Year award 7 times, and despite leaving school at a young age, he has honorary degrees from Makerere University, the nation's oldest premier institute of higher learning, and Nkumba University, where he serves as the Chancellor. Besides his business skills, Wavamunno has never turned his back on the less fortunate. His company, Spear Motors Limited, has donated beds to Katalema, a home for the disabled children. He has also donated other materials to schools and worked with St. John's Ambulance in Uganda and regularly contributes to the building of schools, hospitals, and places of worship. As if this were not enough, he is also a diplomat in his own right. For example, he represents the interests of the Republic of Hungary in Uganda. As the saying goes, behind every great man is even a greater woman. Wavamunno married Maureen in 1974. The Wavamunnos live comfortably in the Munyonyo suburbs of Kampala in the multi-million-dollar home they call Cape Villa on the shores of Lake Victoria. Wavamunno attributes his business success largely to his wife, and he says, "Maureen is not just my wife, the mother of my children, but someone who has become my chief business advisor and confidant." He credits her with challenging him to venture into many successful businesses. So Wavamunno does have critics in Uganda. Some say he has attained his success at the expense of the smaller businesses that have no access to his kind of capital or political connections.
Paul, thank you for that report. We'll take a short break, but before we go, we want to know what you think about the Africa Innovation and Technology channel and the stories we cover. So, join the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. Also, check us out on our YouTube channel. Welcome back to Africa Innovation and Technology channel, a show where we strive to bring you stories that inspire, empower, engage, and motivate young African entrepreneurs into action. We now take you to Rwanda, where we will have the remarkable journey of Tribert Rujugiro Ayabatwa brought to our attention. Mr. Tribert Rujugiro Ayabatwa has consistently overcome adversity to become one of Africa's leading businessmen and philanthropists. His personal fortune, estimated to be in the tens of millions of dollars, includes shopping malls, a cement factory, a brewery, tobacco farms, processing plants, and several other businesses. His ability to succeed despite repeated hardships is remarkable. The 73-year-old Rwandese industrialist is the founder and controlling shareholder of the Pan-African Tobacco Group, PTG, the continent's largest indigenous manufacturer of products.
I don't think about myself as a Rwandese, I think myself as African. I wish when I die that whatever I started can continue, not for looking, expanding business, but building up something. And this is what I keep telling my kids. This is the legacy I will leave with them, to continue the work I started of building up something in Africa.
At age 73, Tribert Rujugiro Ayabatwa is one of Rwanda's most prominent business tycoons and a key player on the African continent. From an early age, Rujugiro knew he wanted to be a businessman and a philanthropist, and his sons are learning their business skills from their father.
My dad, for example, like in business, on the business side, he's, I would say, difficult, very demanding, but also fair.
Even when I started in the business, it wasn't directly being appointed here or there. You started from the bottom.
Rujugiro has always turned adversity into triumph. After the death of his mother, he obtained a certificate as a clerk and a typist and went into exile as a Rwandan refugee in Burundi. Soon, he found a job as a clerk. After work, he spent most evenings learning French. He later became so proficient with French that he began teaching the language to other Rwandan exiles.
He's not really an individualistic, whether you talk about business or community development, nation building. He wants to involve more people. He is involved in cement making. Tribert is in tobacco, growing as well as cigarette making. He's in growing and processing tea in Rwanda. His contribution to Africa is very significant.
Over the years, he has expanded his business holdings across much of the subcontinent, where his work is seen as a model for delivering development and jobs to rural Africa. Today, Mr. Rujugiro's brands are sold in more than 27 African countries.
My ambition was not to die as an employee. I was not interested by making money in Rwanda. I was interested by seeing the country development. We've brought electricity to a church in rural Rwanda, and they built a school and a daycare center in Kigali. We built roads and a bridge in Uganda, and we are helping widows find work and feed their families in South Sudan. We had a big problem of about 1 million people coming back and not having a house. So I told them, I said, please give me land. I'm going to build a house for some families. So they gave me the land. I built about 100 houses and sold it at a cost price.
Like many industrialists, Tribert's success was built on his canny ability to spot opportunities and take risks. He also credits the help of many people along the way who recognized his drive and determination.
My primary goal was to build up something. I'm happy with what I've done. Because some people count success in terms of money, in terms of this. For me, is achieving what you set as a goal.
Mr. Rujugiro does have his critics. The Rwandan government recently confiscated some of his property, including a shopping mall. They say the property was abandoned, a claim he disputes. The government alleges that Mr. Rujugiro, who resides in South Africa, abandoned the mall because he no longer lives in Rwanda, as a justification for seizing his property.
Wow, Paul, I must say that was truly fascinating and inspiring. Still in East Africa, we'll introduce you to the founder of Global Publishers, Tanzania's leading publisher of tabloid newspapers. Eric James Shigongo is one of Tanzania's most skillful entrepreneurs. Born in Mwanza on the shores of Lake Victoria, he has a wide variety of ventures, pursuits including media, hotels, farming, real estate, and property development. Shigongo's story, from poverty to success, to now a celebrated African author and motivational speaker despite repeated hardships, is incredible.
Tanzania is said to have a vocal and relatively free place by standards of the region, and even a criticism of the leaders is often tolerated. In a report published earlier this year by Freedom House, Tanzania was ranked as partly free. As a result, dozens of major daily publications, television stations, radio stations, and numerous internet platforms are thriving. Eric James Shigongo owns Global Publishers.
We do the best quality. When we speak of quality, we do the best quality newspapers. But when we started this business back in 1998, we were just a group of young people. We thought we should do what is missing in the society. There were newspapers, but they were all mainstream newspapers, the political newspapers mainly. And we said, what more can we do? We looked at the newspaper industry and realized that there was a gap. And the gap was actually tabloid newspapers. So we chose our own direction, our own path.
Eric James Shigongo is one of Tanzania's most prominent entrepreneurs. He has a wider variety of venture pursuits, including media, hotels, farming, real estate, and property development. Shigongo's story from poverty to success as a celebrated African author, motivational speaker, despite repeated hardships, is remarkable.
People.
Eric, what do you attribute to some of the success that your publishing company has had so far?
It's hard work. It's hard work and, having a vision and that one day I want to be the best. Every day you try to do whatever you can be, whatever you can do to be the best. Because what we believe here is we are not the best. We are always good. And every day we work hard to be the best. Now that culture of working developed us to a group of workaholic people.
people who like working hard so they can make a difference. We always tell people that we are not in this business mainly to make money. We are in this business to change the community and help the community become a better community.
Mr. Shigongo has always turned adversity into triumph. Over the years, he has expanded his business holdings across much of the country and employs hundreds of people.
We are dealing mostly with tabloids, which are covering most of the stories about superstars, politicians, and we do cover a lot of scandals which are going on the streets.
Saleh Ali is one of the senior editors at Championi.
I want to be the champion now, to not competing only, but to be the king, the sports paper, the king. If people, they see champion, they say, this is a paper. Like if you see Le Cripe in France, this is what I want to do. And I'm telling you, believe me, trust me, this is going to be.
Like all great entrepreneurs, Shigongo's success was built on his canny ability to spot opportunities and to take risks. He also credits the help of many people along, like one of his trusted friends and longtime colleague, Abdallah Marisho. Mr. Marisho attributes the success of his tabloids to the team of talented young journalists who are deployed on the streets to capture what's happening.
Our number one qualification is passion. That's the number one. Do you like what you're doing? Do you think you can be a global journalist? Because a global journalist is somehow different from other journalists, I can say. Because our kind of stories is not the story that you wait for someone to make a press release or to make a press conference for you to take what he's saying and report. But ours, you have to go behind the curtains.
Analysts say newspapers in Africa are still king and will continue to play significant roles as the major sources of news, gossip, entertainment, sports and popular culture, despite a declining advertising revenue. Critics say that although the Constitution of Tanzania provides for freedom of speech, numerous other laws encourage self-censorship and limit the ability of the media to function effectively.
So on that note, do you think that you have a better idea? Or have you created something everyone is talking about? And would you like to be featured on this show? Please send us your video clips, tell us which country you are from, and how your innovation is impacting your community. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show today. Be sure to watch the Africa Innovation and Technology channel online every 2 weeks, and remember to check us out on our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. For now, so long from Washington, D.C.